Okay guys, and welcome to the last video in the playlist for SL students. Okay, for those of you HL economic warriors, there's a few more to go, but for SL students, this represents the last video in the playlist in terms of supply. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at a very important concept, which is how to derive the market supply from the individual supply. Okay, so what we're going to say here now is a couple of definitions. I might as well just put them up on the screen so we can all see what we're talking about. Okay, so the definition of supply is the willingness and ability of producers to produce a quantity of a good or service. The supply curve itself, this shows the relationship between the price of a good or service and the quantity supplied, and it's normally upward sloping, but we have seen examples of supply curves that break the law of supply. Individual supply is the quantity of a good that a single firm would be willing and able to sell at different prices, and market supply is the total quantity of a good or service that all firms in an industry, I suppose, are willing and able to supply at different prices. Now, what I would ask you to do is just take a photo of this. I'm old school, so I write things like take this down. Just take a photo of this so you can refer to it when we're going on to the next slide, which is talking about how to derive the market supply. What I will say is that the prices are the same for every single firm. We only have two firms in this industry. What an industry is a collection of firms that produce a similar, or in this case, a homogeneous or same good. Something like oranges, apples, stuff like that. Okay, so we've got, not that every apple or orange is the same, it's just that if I took an apple off one stall in an open farmer's market, and I took another apple off another stall in an open farmer's market, and I took any stickers or identifying features away from them, I'm absolutely positive that if you guessed right, it was pure chance. Okay, so the idea that it's almost impossible to identify one firm's produce versus another, that's a competitive supply, that's a competitive market. Okay, the goods being sold are the same. Now, so what we're saying here, at a price of 1, the firm 1 will produce 5 units and firm 2 will produce 10 units. At a price of €5 each, firm 1 will produce 25 and firm 2 will produce 50. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, like the demand, but remember we are talking about supply. I'm going to draw the output of firm 1 just for prices 1, 2, and 3, and then join the dots to derive the individual supply curve for firm 1. That just shows that every price, and I know we had 5, but you know, space is at a premium on the screen now. I'm going to go up to just show the different quantities supplied at prices 1, 2, and €3 respectively. Okay, now for firm 2, and again, don't forget guys, we've got a title, we've got a price with the the currency symbol, we've got the origin, we've got the quantity in units per time period, all that kind of stuff. So as we can see, the prices 1, 2, 3, 4, prices 1, 2, 3, 4, the prices are in the same range for the two separate firms, but what is different is the quantity supplied by each firm. And this could represent a number of things, but most likely the capacity of the firm. If firm 2, which it is producing more at every individual price than firm 1, most likely firm 2 is producing on a greater scale. And what do I mean? More and a higher, and potentially a higher quality factors of production, but more factors of production potentially of higher quality. So that's it. Now, so these two firms represent the total supply of this good to the market. And again, we're talking about an individual good, okay? We're not talking about a range of goods. We're talking about one particular good that is supplied by both firm 1 and firm 2. And what we've got with each of these supply curves is the quantity supplied of each individual firm at each price. So please remember that. So how do we calculate the market supply? Well, how we calculate the market supply in this case is understanding that the quantity supplied of each individual firm changes at each price. So in order to calculate the total market supply at a price of €1 each, and there's only two firms, remember, we add the quantity supplied by firm 1 at €1 and the quantity supplied by firm 2 at €1, and we find that 5 plus 10 equals 15. Therefore, to derive the market supply at a price of 1, It's going to be the amount that firm 1 supplies at a price of €1 each, the amount that firm 2 supplies at a price of €1 each, and realizing again that these represent the only 2 firms in the industry. Therefore, we are finding that the total amount supplied to the market, which is simply an aggregation, not aggregate supply, but an aggregation, this is market supply, hence the title up here, is an addition horizontally of all the separate quantities supplied by each firm in the industry at a price of 1. So 5 plus 10 equals 15. Now I will speed up, but at price of 2, firm 1 supplies 10. At a price of 2, firm 2 supplies 20. So 10 plus 20 is 30. These are the only 2 firms in the industry supplying the entire market. Therefore, at a price of 2, there is 30,000 units supplied per week. And we go on again with the price of 3, and we can derive the market supply this way. All right, now it's called horizontal addition, I suppose, because you're adding across the quantities at each price. And what I want you to do is look up here now, guys, okay? So firm 1 plus firm 2 plus all the way up to firm N, if there are N firms producing this good, equals the market supply. But what are we doing? We are adding together the quantity supplied by each firm at each price to calculate the market supply at each price. So don't forget, okay, we know what a movement is caused by a change in price, so therefore each firm will change the amount that they produce as the price changes up to a maximum capacity constraint, and therefore that's how we calculate the amount that is supplied to the market at each price, by adding together the quantity that is supplied by each individual firm in the market at each price. Now, I really hope that helps. There's just one last thing that I want you to understand, which is just a recap of everything that I've already said. To derive the market supply, we add the quantity supplied by each individual firm at each price to calculate the overall quantity supplied to the market at each price. And the reason why I'm saying at each price twice is because, again, and I've already said this, that every firm will change its quantity supplied depending on the changes in price. So you have to understand that it's at each price for each firm, and then therefore if each firm is going to change its quantity supplied depending on what the price is, the market supply is going to change depending on what the price is. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helps, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next video.